John McCain called Sarah Palin one of America's greatest energy experts. It was not because of her BS in communications. It was not because of her experience as a sportscaster. Her energy expertise began with a slot on an Alaska Oil and Gas Commission in 2004, a job she quit after less than 1 year. Our third story on the countdown, did the higher calling for which Palin just quit as governor include going back into the energy business in the role of shill? She wrote an op-ed piece in today's Washington Post using the sky is falling scare tactic to make her attack on cap and trade energy policy. Too bad the facts got in the way of the talking points. Palin wrote, I am deeply concerned about President Obama's cap and trade energy plan. The Americans hit hardest will be those already struggling to make ends meet. But according to the Congressional Budget Office, low-income people would end up paying less for energy under that Obama plan. She wrote that job losses due to cap and trade were certain, and that even more American jobs will be threatened by the rising cost of doing business under the cap and tax plan. According to the Center for American Progress, the Obama plan would actually create 1.7 million jobs and benefit every state in the country. Even Alaska? Yes, even Alaska. This, as a new CBS News poll shows, that most Americans think the governor resigned not for the good of her state, but for the good of Sarah Palin. 52% saying she did it for her political future. Even Republicans are skeptical, more saying she resigned for herself than she did for Alaska. On that note, let's bring in Chris Hayes, the Washington editor for The Nation magazine. Chris, good evening.
Good evening, Keith.
As I understand it from what the governor has been saying in her resignations and postscripts, there was a higher calling. It would enable her to better serve Alaskans. There was no cannibalism involved, so it's no pun on the word served. Is this it? Is this it? What was in the Post today? Is she turning into a big oil shill?
Well, I think transforming herself into a kind of a polemical figure of the reactionary right, ideologically, and also trying to sort of create some patina of substantive expertise. I mean, I think that's why you have the op-ed in the Washington Post. There's some general sense that she knows something about energy because she comes from a state that has, produces a tremendous amount of energy. And so I think this was her kind of first step to try to create an image of the post-governor Sarah Palin, who's sort of an expert that muses on national issues.
Now, but the op-ed could have stood for facts optional here. Is the next logical stop here actual spokesmanship? I mean, is she going to be doing TV ads against cap and trade? I mean, if I'm that actress, Brooke Alexander, who does the Energy Tomorrow ads, and she smoothly tells us we have to drill for oil right through all the bunnies and right through grandma's house's floor. I mean, should I be thinking about trying to get my old job back hosting a show of soap opera highlights?
Yeah, that wouldn't be so crazy to me if she were to end up doing that. I mean, I think that one of the reasons, and she hinted at this, is that legal costs are such that, when you are a figure like Sarah Palin, and this is across the ideological spectrum and partisan divide, there's a lot of money to be made on the speaking circuit. I mean, there are people out there that are going to pay Sarah Palin tons of money, 6 figures for sure, to come speak to them. And there's a lot of money sloshing around right now, the world of sort of right-wing opposition, particularly corporate opposition to things like healthcare domestically and climate change legislation. There's a lot of money to be had there, and there's a whole sort of cottage industry that's been set up on the right and in corporate America to oppose those kinds of reforms. That's a place that seems like a kind of natural space for her to occupy.
Yeah, and you can also get to that 6-figure range with about a morning's work if you're doing it in a TV studio, cutting an ad, even an issue ad for somebody like the Energy Tomorrow or whatever. Yep. Put this in context, though. The other thing in the CBS News poll is more remarkable than any of the numbers we looked at already. Overall favorable view of Governor Palin right now is 23%. The question was, would Palin have the ability to be an effective president? No, 65%. Yes, 22%. And among Republicans, it was yes, 33%. No, 51%. What could she do that could change those numbers, or is that no longer part of this equation?
Well, politics is remarkable insofar as the capacity for self-transformation, it tends to be endless. So, it's hard to close the door on anyone. I think that there are things she could do, and I think the most important thing for her is to create some perception of credibility, even if that's detached from actual expertise. And that's, I think, what we saw with the op-ed. Keep in mind, 33% sounds like a very low number, and it is, obviously, if you were running in a campaign or an election against one other opponent. But when you're talking about how you get to the nomination of the Republican Party, you have a kind of checkers situation where you have to win Iowa or win New Hampshire early on, and that's a field with 5 or 6 candidates. You need a small number of very committed supporters. So if the intensity of preference of enough of the Republican base is strong enough, even if she's not overwhelmingly popular in the beginning, she has a shot early on.
And to the other point, let's never forget, Ronald Reagan, your host of General Electric Theater.
Exactly.
Chris Hayes of The Nation, as always, thanks for your time.
Thank you, Keith.